Good evening. Welcome to Shining Tor, just on the outside edge of the Peak District in the middle of England, overlooking Macclesfield and Manchester. Just set up a few minutes ago. I'll show you around my tent in a little while. Hi, I'm Warren Brand. Welcome to another Linleys video. Jodrell Bank is just in view over there, and the big dish thing has just turned around facing this way. Earlier on when I arrived about an hour ago, it was facing the other way. I didn't know that they rotated it that often, but there we are. Time for a beer. I've got a can of Old P this evening. Cheers. Oh, not too lively. Cold. Cheers. Shining Tor. It looks as if it's going to be a fine night. I'm not expecting any rain or anything tonight. Maybe some low cloud. Manchester's not as clear as it was last night and the night before. I was up on Kinder Scout. Watch out for that video. It was good. But the views are just as good. I'm just along a little bit, but it's a bit more misty, and I don't think there's going to be much of a sunset. I can't even see the sun, so there are. The sun should just go straight over Manchester, but there's no little round ball of fire. So parked in the car park just the other side of Cat's Tor, just a little bit further north, and then followed the easy path all the way up the paved area to Shining Tor here. There's a trig point just behind me at the top here. There is a busy little road. It's only a little road, but it's a busy little road, and the motorbikes just hammer it round. Crazy speeds. I think I can see one of those little yellow cameras, so presumably there is like an average speed zone in that area, which is good, because I can imagine otherwise I don't know what the speed limit is, but I would imagine it's a bit of a racetrack otherwise. There's a double chicane there. Let me give you a guided tour of some of the area of my tent. First of all, in the lobby, the vestibule area, I have a few tents, and in a way they're all different, aren't they, in terms of the layout. This Soulo's got a right hand from the inside, a right hand opening, which is different to many other tents I've got. But I try and keep the same sort of practical layout of the bits and pieces that I have. On the Acto that I've got, the opening is on the left side. My Vango 200 is kind of an end, and I've got one tent that's double-sided, all sorts of different. But generally speaking, for probably about 40 years, I've tried to keep the same sort of layout of the bits and pieces. That way you just know where things are, you know where bits you want, you grab something, put something down, you're not fumbling around, especially in the dark. So in my vestibule opening area, I generally have my cook set, if I can, depending on the terrain, just outside on my left, on the left hand side, and food to prepare and use and whatever is kind of nearby, and I'll show you that in a little while. Then the bits that I'm going to use, like the pots and pans and grabby thing and lighter, I generally have on my right hand side at the moment. So looking out of my tent, my little vestibule area, you can see what a cracking view I have this evening. That's Jodrell Bank again, and Macclesfield, and round to Manchester. Hurrah! So, working from the right, I've got my little pots and pans area. That's just outside actually at the moment, but later on at night I'll bring all of that in. But all my bits and pieces go on that right-hand side, there over in that little corner. Working around to the left, I got my Trangia 27 out this evening. That's the smaller of the two. And at the moment I've got an extreme small canister there. I've got the bigger canister kicking around somewhere. Yeah, I just got the smaller one set up for the moment. I've got my food laid out. I'll have a bit of a go with the food, show you that in a little while. Right, tucked in the left hand side of the vestibule, it's a pile of stuff, isn't it? It's a pile of stuff. I've got my over jacket, which I usually leave on top just in case I need it if it's wet in the night. I've got it there easily to hand. That's my rucksack wedged in there, all various bits and pieces attached to it. I usually just stuff it in there quite deeply. First aid pouch I usually get out, various other appendages. That's the rubbish bag for later on. Right, moving around, I've got my trusty trowel for the morning, and loo paper and other bits and pieces. Temperature is dropping. It's about time I got my meal on. What time is it now? 7:30. I've got about half an hour of light left, I think. So that's the layout that I generally operate in my tent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get going with my food and then show you inside my bedroom. Pieces are a bit big. I bought this from Tesco's earlier on. They don't do finely chopped, they just do big chunky chops. The green peppers are nice, makes a change. I don't usually buy green peppers. Corned beef, it makes an easy meal with a bit of veg. I've got some rice to come and some stir-in pasta sauce, tomato sauce as well. Let that get to a bit of temperature and then I'll add the sauce. Oh, yum yum yum. So that's looking pretty hot. I will leave that to just sit for a few minutes and then get the rice going. There's lots of different ways of doing this sort of Ben's original rice. I boil in some water if you like. Uses water and it takes a bit longer. My preferred method, if I can, is to stick it in a bowl with a little bit of extra oil and a little bit of water and a bit of direct heat. It gets it going much more quickly. A couple of minutes of bit of good heat, the rice is coming up to temperature. So much easier than boiling the bag. Right, that's hot. Back to the meat. Just make sure this is still really hot. I think actually it still is. Still steaming. Just give that another bit of a heat up, just to make sure. Well, the question is, will it all go in the one pan? I've done it the wrong way round. Usually I put the rice in the bigger one so that I can pour this one into the bigger one, but I don't want the rice on top, so let's do it this way round and see, oh, if it'll all go in. Maybe yes, maybe no. That is, in any case, one big feast. My goodness. Here we go. Yum yum. Well, actually, what is it like? No, that's okay. Every meal's different. Hot. Could have done with a bit more spice. I run out of hot sauce. Flavour from that little pot of tomato paste sauce, but not as hot maybe as I like. Right, I've got one more bit of beer left. I shall enjoy this and then I'll get my pudding going and I'll show you around the inside of my bedroom. Back in a bit. Darkness now. I've had the first part of my meal, which is rather nice. I'm just in my tent, just going to get myself sorted for the night, really. I haven't had pudding yet, so custard and little mini apple pies will be part of the menu to follow. But I thought I'd just show you around the inside of my bedroom first. So let's start at the my head end. I've decided to sleep this way round this evening simply because the gradient of the ground is fairly flat, and I just prefer the slightly wider end at this end where my head is. I brought in some of the cooking stuff and tucked that in there. I'll probably have a cup of something later on, so that's ready to roll. Right, moving along, I've got some of my general grab bits and pieces. That pencil case in the middle is full of charging battery bits, GoPro bits, spare bits, charging leads and all sorts. Drinking bottle for the night. I like a guzzle of water maybe during the night. That yellow stuff sack is the equivalent of a pillow. It's got a few spare clothes in it, just spare tops, spare socks, spare pants and a few other bits and pieces that I usually just use also as a pillow. I like using the side pockets because glasses and my phone will go in there later on, so it's easy to get to. Let's look at my sleeping gear for this particular camp session. I mix and match a little bit, but I usually use my Nero Thermarest blow-up mat. Haven't blown it up yet. I usually leave it until a bit later on to blow up. Huffy, puffy, puffy. I don't have one of these pumpy things yet. My sleeping bag this evening is my Rubens Cool Air 750. I bought it just a few months ago. It's supposed to be good for -15 sort of comfort rating. It's just a 700 fill, so I don't think it's really quite as good as the manufacturer's claim for cold temperature. It has the centre zip, which I do quite like. Can't do it with one hand holding the camera as well. I just like the idea of the centre zip. It's supposed to be snag free, but really it isn't. It does snag if you're not careful pulling it up. But I've been very pleased with that. I've been in temperatures down to about -3, -4 over the last couple of months, and it's been very good for me. Another usual bit on my gear list is this 3FUL gear over cover. I bought this about a year, maybe 18 months ago, and I use it either as an extra layer on the outside of my sleeping bag, or sometimes as an inner liner if I'm feeling a bit grubby and I didn't want to get my sleeping bag dirty. I've also used it as an outer layer when I've just been sort of bivvying out without a proper bivvy bag in the summertime, just to keep the outside dry. So that's me inside my sleeping bag now, and with the outer layer of the 3FUL gear layer on the outside. I generally chuck all my stuff sacks down at the end of the tent so that I know where they all are, ready for packing up in the morning. Morning.
Oh, it's good timing.
6:30. Time to get up. Look sharp. Well, get up anyway. Yeah, let's get to it. Put the kettle on, get a coffee, get my porridge going. Ooh. I have no idea what the weather's been like in the morning. It was perfectly clear all through the night with a view over Manchester and Macclesfield. I've no idea. Let's take a look.